"Step aside, miss. This isn't the spot for loitering." The command echoed sharply across the gleaming lobby of the Apex Lux Hotel in Midtown New York. Delivered with the crisp authority of someone enforcing an unwritten rule, Harold Jenkins, the 52-year-old manager with a starched uniform and a perpetual scowl, leaned over the polished granite counter, his eyes locked on the woman before him. She was black, dressed in a simple gray hoodie, yoga pants, and worn sneakers. No makeup, no jewelry, just quiet confidence. He didn't whisper it, he announced it, loud enough for the chattering guests to pause and turn their heads. What Harold didn't realize was that in precisely 9 minutes, this woman, Jasmine Wright, would dismantle his world, firing him and his entire front desk team right there amid the luxury he guarded so fiercely. But first, let's pull back the curtain on how it all ignited. Jasmine pushed through the revolving doors alone, her strides measured, her gaze steady, no entourage, no luxury bag, just a backpack slung over one shoulder. She'd seen lobbies like this 1,000 times, but this one was hers. The crown jewel of the empire she'd built from scratch over years of relentless determination and smart decisions. Drop a comment with your city if you're tuning in. And if this hooks you like it did, those onlookers, smash that subscribe and like. Now, rewind. Jasmine approached the desk, her voice even and composed. Reservation for the executive penthouse under Wright. Flanking Harold were Mia Thompson, 34, with her impeccable bun and forced politeness that barely masked her skepticism, and Raj Singh, 29, fidgeting with his tie, suspicion already creasing his brow like he'd been trained to spot trouble in every unfamiliar face. No hello, no smile, just a collective scan, up and down, like she was an intruder who had wandered in by mistake. Harold tilted his head slightly. Penthouse, that's elite access. You certain about that? His tone dripping with doubt, as if the very idea was preposterous. Jasmine slid her ID and platinum card forward without a word, keeping her expression neutral. He handled them gingerly, as if they might contaminate his pristine workspace. This seems off, he muttered under his breath, but loud enough for her to hear. Mia hit the intercom subtly, her finger pressing the button with practiced efficiency. Security alert. Potential unauthorized entry to high-value suite, she announced in a clipped voice that carried across the room. Raj chimed in. We get these schemes weekly. Fake cards, borrowed IDs, thinking we'll slip up and let them through without checking. His words laced with a smug certainty that grated on the air from the sidelines. Emily Chen, a lifestyle influencer from LA who was there for a quick city getaway, whispered to her companion, Alex Kim, "This is messed up. Starting my camera right now." Alex nodded, going live on his phone with a quick tap, live from Apex Lux, New York, witnessing straight-up profiling in a place that's supposed to be welcoming. Sophia Ramirez, the concierge nearby with her neat uniform and warm demeanor hidden under layers of caution, caught Jasmine's eye for a brief moment. A flicker of solidarity passed between them, like a silent acknowledgement of the unfairness unfolding, but she held back under Harold's sharp glare that dared her to interfere. Jasmine's mind flashed back to a time long ago. At 22, fresh out of college, she checked into a modest Chicago inn after a grueling job interview, dressed in comfortable sweats from the long travel. The clerk had sneered at her, "Our rooms aren't for transients," and somehow lost her confirmed booking in the system, leaving her to wait in the pouring rain outside. That experience had burned into her memory, vowing then and there to create spaces where no one would ever feel erased or unwelcome based on how they looked or dressed. That inner fire had been the spark that built Apex Lux into a thriving chain. Now, ironically, in her own domain, history seemed to loop back on itself in the most unexpected way. Harold waved off her card dismissively. "We'll verify this thoroughly. Meantime, step out of the line, please." He passed it to Raj, who locked it away in a secure drawer with theatrical flair, as if performing for an invisible audience. Company protocol, hold until fully cleared, he explained with a nod. Jasmine stayed rooted to the spot, her posture unwavering. "You wish you hadn't done that," she said calmly, her voice carrying a quiet weight that made Emily's feet buzz with activity. "They seized her card. This is theft, pure and simple." Emily narrated into her recording. Tension thickened in the air like a gathering storm. Sophia edged closer subtly, but Harold snapped at her. "Back to your post immediately. Don't get involved." Jasmine texted her VP, Lena Brooks, with swift fingers. "It's unfolding just as we suspected." Lena replied instantly, "Assets primed and ready. Keep steady." Guests murmured among themselves, phones rising slowly as curiosity turned to concern. A businessman in a sharp suit paused his conference call, frowning deeply at the scene. Jasmine's calm masked a brewing storm inside. Another flashback hit her. At age 18, in a sunny Miami resort lobby, she'd been asked to leave while simply waiting for friends to arrive, not our clientele. They had said with polite but firm insistence, escorting her out as if she didn't belong. It had sharpened her edge, turned that moment of exclusion into fuel for her ambitious plans. Harold, sensing the growing eyes on them, raised his voice a notch. "She's delaying legit patrons who actually belong here." Jasmine gestured subtly to the crowd that was forming. "You mean these witnesses who are seeing everything?" Sophia finally murmured under her breath, "Her booking's legit. I glimpsed it in the system earlier this morning." Harold hissed at her, "Quiet, or you're next on the list." Jasmine's phone buzzed softly. Lena again. Footage syncing from multiple angles now. The air crackled with unspoken alliances forming among the strangers. No one knew yet who Jasmine truly was. But the fuse was lit and burning fast toward an inevitable explosion. As whispers grew louder, Harold doubled down on his stance. Fraud alert in effect. Evacuate her from the premises immediately. Mia reached for Jasmine's elbow with a tentative but insistent hand. Gasps rippled through the onlookers like a wave. Emily yelled out, "Hands off her. That's not right." Alex's stream surged to hundreds of viewers in moments, comments pouring in with outrage and support. Sophia blocked Mia's advance with a step forward. "You can't touch guests like that. It's against every guideline we have." Harold barked back, "She's no guest, just an opportunist trying to game the system." Jasmine's resolve hardened even further, drawing from that well of past experiences that had taught her patience and strategy. Flashback to 27 in bustling LA, suited up for a crucial business pitch, yet grilled endlessly for extra proof of identity while others breezed through check-in without a second glance. It had been the catalyst for her strict no-profiling policy implemented across all Apex properties, a policy now being blatantly violated right under her nose. "Nia, document every second," she said into her phone with a low voice. The lobby teetered on the edge of eruption, phones capturing every beat of the unfolding drama. Harold's facade cracked slightly for the first time, a bead of sweat forming, but he pressed on regardless. "Call the authorities if she doesn't comply." Jasmine smiled faintly, almost imperceptibly. "Go ahead, make that call." Guests shifted their positions, some moving protectively closer as if sensing the injustice. A woman with a rolling suitcase blocked Mia's path subtly. The power dynamic wobbled precariously, but the big revelation loomed just around the corner, ready to shift everything in an instant. The lobby's elegant chandeliers cast long shadows over the scene, highlighting the contrast between the opulent surroundings and the tense human drama playing out below. Jasmine stood there, a picture of composure amid the chaos, her mind racing through strategies honed over years of overcoming obstacles. Harold paced slightly behind the counter, his confidence waning but not yet broken. Mia glanced nervously at Raj, who avoided her eyes, fiddling with papers to distract himself. Sophia watched with a mix of apprehension and hope, knowing deep down that something fundamental was about to change. Emily and Alex continued their recordings, their devices becoming beacons of accountability in the moment. More guests joined the fray, whispering questions and sharing quick glances. The businessman pulled out his own phone, starting a recording of his own. "This isn't how hospitality should work," he muttered to no one in particular. Jasmine's flashbacks continued to weave through her thoughts, each one a building block in her journey from overlooked outsider to industry leader. At 25, she'd faced similar scrutiny in a Boston boutique hotel where staff had accidentally double-booked her room and offered no alternative, forcing her to find lodging elsewhere late at night. That incident had inspired her to prioritize guest equity in her business model, ensuring every policy favored inclusion over exclusion. Now, as the minutes ticked by, she felt the weight of those lessons guiding her actions. Harold attempted to regain control, addressing the crowd directly. "This is a standard verification process. Nothing to see here. Please continue with your day." But his words fell flat, met with skeptical stares and shaking heads. Mia tried to back him up. "Yes, we're just protecting our valued clients." But her voice lacked conviction. Raj remained silent. His earlier smugness evaporated. Sophia took a small risk, stepping forward again. "I can confirm the reservation is valid. It's right there in the database." Harold shot her a warning look. "One more word and your position is in jeopardy." Jasmine appreciated the quiet bravery. Noting it mentally for later, her phone vibrated once more. Lena's message: "All systems align. Ready on your signal." The tension built like a crescendo in a symphony. Every eye in the lobby fixed on the desk, waiting for the next move. Jasmine drew a deep breath, centering herself, knowing the turning point was near. Guests exchanged stories in hushed tones. "I've seen this before in other places." One said, "It's disappointing but not surprising." Another replied, "Emily's social media post gained traction, shares and likes climbing rapidly, drawing virtual eyes to the real-world standoff." Alex narrated softly into his stream, "The energy here is electric. Something big is about to happen. I can feel it." Harold, sensing the shift, tried one last bluff. "If you won't leave voluntarily, we'll have no choice but to involve external help." Jasmine's response was measured. "Do what you must, but remember this moment." The woman with the suitcase spoke up. "This doesn't look right to me. You should check again." The businessman nodded in agreement. "Absolutely. Treat people with respect. That's basic." Sophia smiled faintly at the support. Feeling emboldened, the lobby, once a place of transient luxury, had transformed into a stage for a larger conversation about fairness and dignity. Jasmine's presence, unassuming yet commanding, held the center. Her casual attire now, a symbol of the very assumptions being challenged. As the clock in her mind counted down, she prepared to reveal the truth that would upend everything. Harold wiped his brow. Mia shifted uncomfortably. Raj looked ready to bolt. The guests leaned in, phones at the ready. Sophia stood firm. And in that suspended instant, the story poised on the brink of its explosive pivot, the air thick with anticipation, every detail etched into the collective memory of those present, from the gleam of the marble floors to the soft hum of the air conditioning, all underscoring the human element at play. Jasmine reflected briefly on her path, from humble beginnings to boardrooms, always driven by a commitment to betterment. This incident, though unwelcome, was an opportunity to reinforce those values. Harold's next words came out sharper. "Time's up, miss. Please exit now." But Jasmine didn't budge, her eyes meeting his with unwavering intensity. The crowd murmured louder. A chorus of discontent building. Emily captured it all. Her lens a witness to history in the making. Alex's viewers commented furiously, demanding justice. Sophia whispered to herself, "This is it. The moment of truth." And as the 9-minute mark approached invisibly, the lobby held its breath, ready for the revelation that would change the narrative forever. But for now, the build-up continued, each second adding layers to the unfolding tale of resilience and reckoning. Guests began to form loose groups, discussing what they were seeing, some pulling up the hotel's reviews on their phones, finding patterns that matched the current scene. One guest noted, "This place has great ratings, But maybe that's not the full story. Another agreed, looks can be deceiving. Jasmine overheard snippets, using them to fuel her calm determination. Harold tried to disperse the crowd, nothing to worry about, folks, just routine. But no one moved, transfixed by the drama. Mia suggested quietly, maybe we should double-check the ID. But Harold dismissed her. No, stick to protocol. Raj nodded weakly, but his face showed doubt. Sophia took the initiative, glancing at the screen behind the counter. Yes, right. Executive penthouse, confirmed. Harold turned red. I said quiet. The tension peaked. Phones everywhere, recording the exchange. Emily's post now viral in small circles. Drawing more attention, Alex announced. Shares are spiking. This is going places. Jasmine's phone lit up with notifications from Lena. Media alerts starting. Hold strong. The lobby's atmosphere shifted from elegant tranquility to charged energy. Every person there part of something larger. Jasmine stood tall, her hoodie, a badge of authenticity in a world of pretense. Flashbacks blended with the present, reminding her why she fought. At 30, she'd expanded Apex with a focus on diverse staffing. Yet here was a reminder that work remained. Harold's impatience grew. Calling security now, he threatened. Jasmine replied softly. Proceed, the guest protested. No need for that. Let her check in, Sophia added. Listen to them. The crowd's voice rose. A collective push for fairness, the businessman offered. I can vouch if needed. This seems wrong. The woman with the suitcase agreed. Absolutely. Treat everyone equally. Emily zoomed in, capturing the solidarity. Alex's stream hit 1,000 views. Comments praising the bystanders. Harold hesitated. Sensing the tide turning against him, Mia backed away slightly. Raj looked panicked. Sophia stood her ground, and Jasmine, at the center, felt the support envelop her like a shield. Knowing the moment to act was imminent, the lobby's grandeur faded into the background, the real focus on human interactions and the pursuit of equity. As words flew and stares intensified, the story wove itself tighter, building toward the climax that would redefine the space for all involved. Guests shared quick stories of their own experiences elsewhere, bonding over shared frustrations. One mentioned a similar incident in Vegas, another in Miami, highlighting how common such moments were. Jasmine listened, her empathy deepening, vowing internally to address it broadly. Harold tried to isolate her. This is between us and her, but the crowd disagreed. No, it's public now, Emily said, and it's online, Alex confirmed. Live and spreading. The virtual world amplifying the physical one, Sophia suggested. Perhaps apologize and proceed, but Harold refused. Digging in, the minutes stretched, each one heavy with potential. Jasmine's composure inspired those around her. A quiet leader in the storm, flashbacks to her early days, bootstrapping the first hotel with loans and grit, facing skepticism from investors who doubted her vision, but she proved them wrong, building an empire on principles of inclusion, now tested here. The lobby buzzed with energy, phones beeping with incoming messages, guests alerting friends, the incident gaining momentum beyond the walls. Lena texted, "Team ready, just say the word." Harold's final push came, "Leave or face consequences." Jasmine's response, "I choose to stay." The guests cheered softly, standing with her. Sophia smiled, the shift palpable, and as the invisible timer hit its mark, the stage was set for the truth to emerge. But the buildup had created a foundation of awareness that would linger long after. The lobby pulsed with unrest as Mia's grip tightened on Jasmine's arm. "Out now," she demanded through gritted teeth. But Sophia shoved between them with surprising force. "Violation of guest rights," she declared firmly. Harold thundered back, "You're fired for insubordination right this instant." Emily's camera whirled to capture the chaos. "Assault on tape, going viral as we speak," she shouted into her device. Alex's live stream hit thousands of viewers in a flash. Comments flooding in like a digital torrent. "Sue them for everything. Boycott this chain until they clean house. Unbelievable in a modern hotel, one after another, Jasmine, unflinching amid the fray. Spoke into her phone with steady precision. Lena, escalate to full protocol. Lena's response crackled through. HR looped in and standing by. Raj, sweating profusely now, unlocked the drawer hesitantly, but paused mid-motion. Boss, what if we're making a huge mistake here? Harold cut him off sharply. She's bluffing. Stick to the plan. But doubt had seated itself deeply in the team's ranks, cracking their united front. A guest who appeared to be a lawyer type in a tailored suit boomed from the side. This is assault, plain and clear. I'm calling my firm to document. The atmosphere charged further. Phones everywhere lighting up with notifications as shares spread. Emily's clip exploded on Instagram Reels, hashtagged with terms like unfair treatment and call for accountability, views soaring into the tens of thousands within minutes. Anonymous direct messages poured into her inbox. Ex-staff here. Harold's done this before to guests who didn't fit the image. Another read. I quit last year over similar incidents, patterns emerging. Jasmine addressed the growing crowd directly for the first time. Anyone else seen this kind of pattern play out here or elsewhere? A teen with her mom nodded vigorously from the periphery. Last visit. They ignored my family's request for a simple upgrade, treated us like we didn't matter. Murmurs swelled into open discussions. Sophia, emboldened by the shifting momentum, added her voice louder. I filed internal reports on this, but they were always ignored or buried. Harold paled visibly. That's all lies. Complete fabrications, he sputtered, but his authority rang hollow now. Alex panned his camera to Jasmine's composed face. Who are you really? He asked breathlessly. The question hanging in the air like a challenge. She paused for a beat, letting the suspense build, then stated evenly, Jasmine Wright, founder and CEO of Apex Lux. Gasps erupted like fireworks. Raj dropped the key with a clatter on the counter. Mia stammered in disbelief. Impossible, that can't be, Emily exclaimed. CEO twist, this changes everything. Her stream's view count rocketing to 5,000 and climbing. Harold laughed nervously, a forced sound that fooled no one. Proof. Where's your proof? He demanded, grasping at straws. Jasmine tapped her phone screen once more. Lena, patch through Marcus now. Lena complied instantly, connecting HR Chief Marcus Hale on speaker, his voice booming clear and authoritative, confirming Jasmine Wright, CEO and owner, effective immediately. Terminate Harold Jenkins, Mia Thompson, Raj Singh, all access revoked across systems. Badges beeped red in unison, a digital death knell that left the trio stunned in the silence. The lobby fell quiet for a split second before faint cheers broke out from the guests. A senior couple near the elevators clapped slowly. About time someone stood up to this nonsense, they said. But Harold raged on in denial. This is a setup, a total ambush. You'll regret dragging us through this publicly. Jasmine met his gaze coolly. No, you will. For every dismissed complaint and overlooked voice under your watch, viral threads on social platforms uncovered more dirt in real time. Reddit posts linking to archived reviews of similar treatment at Apex under Harold's tenure. Users sharing screenshots of old emails and forum threads detailing ignored feedback. The digital storm raged unchecked. News sites beginning to pick up the story with headlines forming in editors' minds. But the focus remained squarely on the lobby's raw justice unfolding. The firings hit like a thunderclap. The former staff frozen in place, their faces a mix of shock and realization. Sophia retrieved the platinum card from the drawer with careful hands. Here, ma'am, she said respectfully, handing it back. Jasmine nodded appreciatively. Promoted on the spot, interim manager for this property. Effective now. You'll lead with the integrity you've shown today. The crowd formed a loose shield around Jasmine as the ex-staff slunk away toward the exits. Their heads down under the weight of judging eyes, the online fallout intensified, with influencers reposting Emily's clips, adding their own commentary on the importance of speaking out. Alex narrated to his audience, "This isn't just a firing, it's a statement against outdated practices." Guests shared their own stories live on the stream, turning the confrontation into a communal catharsis where voices, long silenced, found an outlet. One man recounted a time he was overcharged and dismissed. Another woman spoke of being redirected to a lesser room without explanation, each tale weaving into a tapestry of needed change. No repeats of the earlier buildup. Here the emphasis shifted to the ripple effects of exposure and the emotional pivots as alliances solidified. Harold's last protest echoed weakly, "This won't stand, we'll fight back," but it landed flat, ignored by the empowered room. Mia whispered to Raj, "What do we do now?" He shrugged helplessly, their smugness shattered. Sophia took charge smoothly, directing other staff to assist waiting guests, easing the tension with practical steps. Jasmine turned to her phone again, launched the PR response team. "Get ahead of this with transparency." Guests applauded the move, one yelling, "Finally a company that owns up." The viral nature amplified every detail, with threads dissecting the body language, the timestamps, the exact words used, creating a narrative that spread far beyond New York. Anonymous tips continued to flood social inboxes, more ex-employees chiming in about a culture of selective service that had persisted too long. Jasmine listened to a few read aloud by Emily, noting them for follow-up. The lobby transformed from a site of conflict to one of collective reflection, people mingling and discussing how such moments could spark broader improvements in the industry. Alex's stream peaked at 10,000 viewers, comments praising Jasmine's poise and calling for similar accountability elsewhere. Sophia organized a quick huddle with remaining staff, reinforcing guest-first approaches. The fired trio lingered at the doors briefly, but security escorts arrived discreetly, guiding them out without fanfare. The room breathed easier. Jasmine addressed everyone once more. "This exposure isn't the end. It's the start of realigning our values." Guests nodded in agreement, some offering contact info for further statements. The digital echo chamber buzzed with positivity now, shifting from outrage to admiration for the swift handling. Emily wrapped her recording with a summary. What started as unfair treatment ended in empowerment. Subscribe for more real stories. Alex signed off similarly, urging viewers to share if they face similar issues. The lobby's energy settled into a productive hum, with check-ins resuming under Sophia's lead. Jasmine reflected internally on the power of visibility, how one incident captured on camera could dismantle entrenched habits. The online conversations evolved, forums debating corporate responsibility and the role of bystanders in change. More tips surfaced, including links to old internal memos that hinted at overlooked training gaps. Jasmine forwarded them to Lena for verification. The chapter of immediate justice closed, but its waves promised to reshape the horizon. Guests lingered longer than usual, bonding over the shared experience, one group even starting a petition for industry-wide standards. Sophia handled it with grace, promising to pass it up the chain. The firing's finality sank in as systems locked out the former staff remotely, their emails bouncing, access denied, a clean break. Jasmine's team coordinated from afar, preparing statements that emphasize commitment to fairness. The lobby's chandeliers seemed brighter now, illuminating a path forward. Conversations turned inspirational, with guests asking Jasmine about her journey. She shared briefly, "It's about creating spaces where everyone feels valued, no exceptions." The viral clips spawned memes and think pieces, analyzing the power dynamics at play, educators using it as a case study in real time. The turning tide had swept through, leaving clarity in its wake. Sophia promoted staff morale with quick encouragements. The guest solidarity lingered, a reminder that community can shift outcomes. Jasmine's phone rang with board members, supportive and ready to back reforms. The chapter pulsed with aftermath energy, distinct from the setup's slow burn, focusing on the cascade of revelations and digital amplification that made the moment unforgettable. As the crowd thinned, The story's core remained, a testament to standing firm and the ripple of collective action, paving the way for what came next in the unfolding saga. With the doors shutting firmly on the ousted staff, the lobby exhaled a collective sigh of relief, the air lighter now as if a heavy fog had lifted. Jasmine turned to face the remaining guests with a measured nod. This isn't an isolated mishap. It's a symptom of deeper issues we've let linger too long. We're launching a full audit starting today. Everything from guest logs to staff evaluations. Sophia, stepping into her new role as interim manager with quiet efficiency, began resetting the digital systems right there at the counter, disabling old logins and flagging suspicious entries for review. Done and secured, she confirmed within moments. Her voice steady amid the lingering buzz, Jasmine pulled out her phone once more, dialing Lena with purpose. Send the internal alert wide, notify regional compliance teams, diversity specialists, and our legal department. I want a comprehensive review of Apex Lux's operations over the past 18 months. Every guest complaint filed, every staff conduct report submitted, and any suppression patterns that might have been overlooked. Lena's reply came swift and assured, already in motion. Ma'am, the media is starting to circle with questions, but your directive is front and center. We've got Carla prepping a detailed rollout briefing for the board. Guests began approaching Sophia tentatively, many speaking in soft tones as if testing the waters of this new dynamic. One woman, clutching a printed reservation slip, whispered gratefully, "Thank you for stepping up earlier. I was too hesitant to say anything myself." Sophia smiled gently, reassuring her, "We're listening fully now. No more brushed aside concerns." In the corner of the expansive space, Alex's live stream continued to show steady growth, now surpassing 10,000 viewers, with the caption updated to CEO reclaims control and sparks reform live. Comments rolled in like an endless scroll. This is how real change happens, not in meetings, but in moments like this. Another read. Props to the bystanders who filmed it all. Sophie, having gone quieter since her initial burst of recording, approached Jasmine with her phone lowered respectfully. "Do you want me to keep sharing updates or hold off?" she asked earnestly. Jasmine considered for a second, then nodded. "Only the truth. That's all that matters. Keep it factual and let people draw their own conclusions." Then she pivoted to address the crowd as a whole. For years, Apex has championed inclusion in our marketing materials, but true progress means confronting when those words fall short behind the scenes. Today marks the turning point, where we back it up with action. She looked directly at Sophia again. "Reassign all ongoing staff training sessions to commence within the next 72 hours. We'll partner with an independent firm specializing in equity practices, and every employee from entry level to executives will undergo recertification. No exemptions, no shortcuts." As Jasmine outlined these steps, Carla's voice came through on the speaker once more. Calm and precise, "We've greenlit your comprehensive reform blueprint. Local outlets are requesting official statements, and we've affirmed your directive to pause standard front desk operations temporarily for a thorough reset." Jasmine responded, without missing a beat. "Then implement the suspension on bookings. Here, Sophia will oversee manual handling for our VIP arrivals, redirect others to our nearby sister property with complimentary upgrades and stays." She glanced at Sophia. "You comfortable managing that workload short term?" Sophia gave a resolute nod. "More than comfortable. It's an honor to steer this right around them." The guests no longer resembled mere observers, but active supporters in the unfolding shift. One man in business attire offered to assist with organizing luggage for those affected by the pause. A couple nearby volunteered to distribute bottled water and snacks from the lounge to anyone waiting, transforming the space from a zone of earlier conflict into a hub of spontaneous cooperation and goodwill. The lobby had evolved into something hybrid, part recovery area for the day's events, part command center for immediate fixes, And then came a pivotal notification that sharpened Jasmine's focus even further. Her screen lit up with an internal alert from the compliance team. She opened it discreetly, scanning the executive summary with a tightening jaw as the details unfolded. Then she lifted her eyes and announced to no one specific but loud enough for nearby ears, "It turns out Harold didn't operate in a vacuum." The room paused again, hanging on her words. Carla's voice returned through the earpiece, this time in a lower, more urgent tone. "We've accessed the archived records for this location. Harold routinely submitted altered summaries to higher-ups, marking legitimate complaints as resolved without any follow-through, and we've traced communications linking him to a retired regional director named Michael Ellis, who stepped down quietly 3 months back amid vague HR concerns." Jasmine's tone grew colder. Ellis left under the guise of being out of touch with modern standards, but no one probed deeper because it was easier to let it fade. Lena chimed in over the line. "Appears he shielded Harold and others like him." Lauren's name pops up in some threads too. A clear pattern of favoritism towards certain approaches. Jasmine closed her eyes briefly, not in defeat but to center her resolve amid the revelations, then reopened them with crystal clarity. "We're expanding beyond this single property, initiating a complete review across all Apex locations, every potentially flagged employee, every unresolved or downplayed complaint, every fabricated closure note." She turned toward Alex, who was still capturing footage. "Feel free to include this segment. People deserve to know that real issues often stem from systemic oversights, and we're committed to uprooting them entirely." The guests around her nodded in varied reactions, some appearing stunned by the depth, others visibly relieved that the scope was broadening. A woman in her 70s whispered to her companion, "I've waited decades to see leadership actually follow through on promises like this." Sophie shifted her focus to her own stream. "We came expecting a standard stay, but we're leaving as witnesses to a genuine overhaul." Jasmine glanced around the transformed lobby, no longer seeing just architectural elegance in the marble and fixtures, but a potent symbol of what true hospitality could embody when stripped of hidden barriers. "This establishment was never flawed in its design or amenities," she stated thoughtfully. "It faltered because routines allowed selective welcoming, smiling at some while questioning others without cause." That chapter closes definitively today, and the reconstruction launches immediately. Fast forward several months, and the Apex Lux flagship no longer echoed the tensions of that fateful day. The polished floors still gleamed underfoot, the chandeliers continued to sparkle with refined light, and the plush seating areas invited relaxation as before, but the underlying vibe had shifted profoundly. A sense of genuine openness permeated the air, replacing any former undercurrents of judgment. A prominent display near the entrance featured Jasmine's vision statement etched in elegant script. "This haven is for every traveler, without exception or assumption. Guests entered and exited with ease, free from second-guessing based on their style, background, or presentation." And at the helm stood Sophia, elevated permanently to general manager, not merely as a nod to her bravery, but because she exemplified the empathetic leadership Apex now prioritized across the board. The reforms Jasmine spearheaded extended far beyond this one site, rippling through the entire network of 58 properties nationwide. A meticulous initiative audited each one, resurfacing dozens of previously sidelined concerns and enforcing updated protocols company-wide. Every location adopted innovative equity oversight panels comprising rotating guest representatives, streamlined anonymous reporting tools, and stringent enforcement measures backed by transparent accountability. As for the individuals who had been part of that pivotal lobby moment, they received personalized outreach, handwritten notes of appreciation, and direct follow-ups, not from automated systems, but from Jasmine personally. "Your presence and voices made the difference," one such message conveyed. That support echoes still. Sophie and Alex, whose recordings had fueled widespread coverage without relying on trends, were later invited to contribute at Apex's annual leadership gathering, where they highlighted the impact of everyday advocacy. "We didn't aim to spotlight flaws," Alex shared during his segment. "We simply chose not to look away." Even as the organization evolved, echoes from the past surfaced in unexpected ways. A week following the event, Jasmine got a confidential outreach from a former manager at a Portland branch, someone who'd collaborated with Harold in earlier roles. His tone laced with remorse as he detailed a broader context. "It wasn't just individual choices," he explained. "There existed informal guidance from Ellis's time, nudging teams to prioritize guests fitting a specific mold, nothing documented, but implied strongly enough that everyone understood." Jasmine responded with composure, thanking him for the honesty before forwarding the insights to Carla and the legal experts for deeper analysis. That single disclosure unveiled the ultimate layer, showing the incident transcended one team's missteps, rooted instead in a framework that had tacitly permitted such lapses. As word of this spread internally, more past associates came forward, prompting the formation of a dedicated task force to revisit cases of staff exits under dubious circumstances. Several were welcomed back with reinstated positions. Others offered fair resolutions. Jasmine ensured every personnel decision moving forward left a clear, auditable trail. Rebuilding trust demands more than updated guidelines, she emphasized to her executive team. It requires evidence that openness is valued and honesty protected. Jasmine's public profile transformed as well. Once viewed primarily as a strategic innovator who scaled a hospitality venture through savvy and perseverance, she emerged as a beacon for progressive change, not by chasing recognition, but by embracing it to cement lasting shifts. She introduced a fresh division within Apex called Apex Advance, dedicated to advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion through actionable metrics rather than mere declarations. Its inaugural efforts included Sophia's appointment as nationwide coordinator for frontline experiences, and at the division's launch event, Jasmine delivered a line that resonated with attendees from various walks. "True hospitality isn't defined by the greeting extended, it's rooted in the equity presumed from the start." The room rose in applause, not for a figurehead's words, but for a trailblazer who had converted a personal challenge into an open invitation for collective progress. Partnerships blossomed with advocacy organizations to refine training modules, incorporating real-world scenarios and feedback loops. Industry competitors took note, some adopting parallel measures to enhance their own standards, sparking a subtle wave of improvement across the sector. Guests returned with stories of transformed visits. One family shared how their diverse group was accommodated seamlessly. Another solo traveler praised the absence of undue scrutiny. Apex's reputation, once solid, now shone with an added layer of authenticity. Jasmine mentored emerging entrepreneurs in her spare time, sharing lessons on navigating barriers while upholding core values. The epilogue of this chapter painted a future-oriented canvas where one lobby's reckoning became a blueprint for enduring enhancement, ensuring spaces like Apex Lux truly served all who entered, fostering connections built on mutual respect and shared humanity. The legacy endured, a quiet revolution sparked in the heart of a bustling city hotel.